Hello again. It's time to read our new book of the week. And if you guessed that our book is about a spider, you were right. This is our new book of the week. It's called Miss Spider's Tea Party. And the author who wrote the words and also the illustrator that made the pictures, his name is David Kirk. So he's the author and the illustrator. This is the front cover, remember? And this is the back cover. So you can see her here on the back and see her here on the front. And if you look, what is in her hands? Let's see. She has a teapot and a creamer and a bunch of little teacups. There's some cream, maybe this is her sugar, and a lot of little teacups because the book's title says tea party in it, right? Miss Spider's Tea Party. And what is she sitting on? And some of the teacups are hanging off of it. Can you see it? What's that called? What do spiders make? A spider web. That's right. She's sitting on her spider web. Do you know why spiders make spider webs? She's a pretend spider, right? But why do real spiders make spider webs? Do you know why? They use them to catch their food. Other bugs fly into them and they get caught in the sticky web and then spiders eat them. So keep that in mind. That has something to do with the book that we're going to read. And something that's different about spiders is they're not insects. A lot of bugs are insects that have 6 legs. Spiders have a different amount of legs. So they're not insects. They're something different and special. Let's see how many legs she has. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So she's not an insect, she's different. Spiders are called arachnids. She has 8 legs, so she's special. So we're going to read to find out how Miss Spider's tea party goes. We'll see what happens, see how it turns out. Who do you think might come to her tea party? Okay, let's see. When I'm reading, listen for rhyming words and words that are numbers, because there's counting in this book a lot. Miss Spider's Tea Party, Paintings and Verse by David Kirk. So he wrote the words and he made the illustrations are paintings, which is really cool because they're very pretty. There's a good close look. One lonely spider sipped her tea while gazing at the sky. She watched the insects on the leaves and many flying by. If I had friends like these, she sighed, who'd stay a while with me, I'd sit them down on silken chairs and serve them cakes and tea. Two timid beetles, Ike and May, crept from the woodwork that same day. But when Miss Spider begged, "Please stay," they shrieked, "Oh no!" and dashed away. Sounds like they weren't excited to see her. 3 fireflies flew inside that night, their spirits high, their tails alight. They spied the web and squeaked in fear, "We'd better get away from here." The little trio did not feel they'd care to be a spider's meal. So what are they afraid of? They don't want to be the spider's meal, so they're afraid that she's going to eat them. 4 bumblebees. 4 bumblebees buzzed by outside. "Please come to tea," Miss Spider cried. The 4 ignored her, swaying there. She waved a tea towel in the air. She took a cup and tapped the glass. Then one bee spoke to her at last. "We would be fools to take our tea with anyone so spidery." Within the shadows of the room, just peeking from behind a broom, 5 grinning faces bobbed and peered. Miss Spider smiled. Her heart was cheered. Descending for a closer look, she danced into the gloomy nook, but sadly found these jolly mugs belonged, alas, to rubber bugs. They were just little toy bugs. Some ants strode in. They numbered 6, but ants with spiders will not mix. She brewed them tea from hips of roses. The proud platoon turned up their noses. They didn't like it. A fine bouquet concealed its prize of 7 dainty butterflies. Miss Spider, watching from the wall, was not aware of them at all. They were blending in with the flowers very well. Can you see them? This one's very tricky because it blends in really well. The tea table was set for 8, with saucers, cups, and silver plate. The cakes were fresh, the service gleamed, yet no one would arrive, it seemed. Her company, in no demand, left her a cup for every hand. Look at Miss Spider's face. How is she feeling? Why is she so sad? Because no one wants to come to her tea party and be her friend, right? And it's making her sad. 9 spotted moths kept safe and warm in shelter from a thunderstorm. They stood beneath an open sash and watched the jagged lightning flash. Miss Spider dropped down on a thread, a silver tray above her head. She had hoped to please them, but instead they flew away in mortal dread. They were just frightened by her. They've left me all alone, she cried. She dabbed her eyes and sadly sighed. It's plain no bug will ever stay. Her tears splashed down upon the tray. 10 tiny steaming cups of tea were perched atop her trembling knee. She sipped and sobbed, then heard a cough and turned to see a small, wet moth. A fragile thing so soaked by rain, his wings too damp to fly again. She had brought that tea for the moths, but they were frightened by her, right? She smiled and took a checkered cloth to cloak the frail and thankful moth. They talked and snacked on tea and pie until his tiny wings were dry. Then lifting him with tender care, she tossed him gently in the air. See, she gave him a little cloth to dry up, and then they had tea and cake, and she helped him fly away. The moth told Ike, and Ike told May, who went from bug to say, there is no reason for alarm. She's never meant us any harm. So later on that afternoon, assembled in the dining room, 11 insects came to tea to share Miss Spider's courtesy. 12 tender violets presented at Miss Spider's place, set by her chair, so neatly spun, she munched the blossoms one by one. Her friends were glad to watch her feast upon the floral centerpiece. It was a great relief to see she ate just flowers and drank just tea. Miss Spider's reputation grew. Before too long, our hostess knew each bug who crawled or hopped or flew, and all their lovely children, too. That's the same picture on the back cover. Do you see her smiling face now? And look at all of her little friends. There's Ike and May. All the different kinds of bugs and insects she talked to the whole time. So, in the beginning, how were all of the bugs feeling about Miss Spider? They were scared of her, that's right. And then in the middle of the book, she helps someone out. Who does she help? The wet moth, that's right. And once the wet moth flew away, he told everyone, we don't have to be scared of Miss Spider, right? And then at the end of the book, they all come to her tea party, and what does she actually eat? Does she eat other bugs? No, what does she eat? She eats flowers and drinks tea. That's all that she has. And then she became friends with everyone and got to know everyone, right? Okay. We are going to read that book a second time on Wednesday, and I will see you all then.